I guess that's our cue. Hello, project managers. Welcome to today's episode of My Project Hell. We're so glad you're joining us. I'm Kelly Schockler, and today we're going to do what we do each episode. We're going to spend this next 20 minutes or so bringing you relevant topics on project management, sharing a little practical advice without bogging you down too much. And hopefully we're going to bring you some new information, some new learning that you can apply wherever you're at in your own project management practice.
And I'm Paul Thompson. In this episode, we're going to get a little nerdy. We're going to dive deep into design thinking topic with a couple of special guests, David and Justin from What Could Be. These two bring really some of the most cutting edge ideas when it comes to applying design thinking to project management. Now, we had to record this earlier because time zone differences and everything from where they're located. But rather than just listen to this and push it in the back, I encourage you guys to become part of the conversation. Put your ideas, thoughts, and what questions you might have into the chat as we go.
So again,
how do we get there, Kelly?
Okay. Oh, so, okay. So again, we pre-recorded this. Now this is part 2 of What Could Be with David and Justin. We did part 1 a couple weeks ago. So if you haven't listened to that, you might want to just pause right here and go back to that episode, part 1 of What Could Be, and then follow up with part 2. So again, Paul and I are here live, and we're going to hand it over to our executive producer, Katie, to roll the recording.
All right. Justin, Dave, we are so glad to have you guys back to continue our conversation on design thinking. And just as a reminder for everyone, last time you guys were here, we explored the value of design thinking at a higher level. Today, we really want to dive into some of the tools. So welcome, Justin and David.
Yeah, welcome. Welcome back.
Great to be back.
Thank you, Paul. Thanks, Kelly. Great to be here.
Yeah, we're really pleased to have you back on. And Paul and I are really interested in taking a closer look at the tools that you use to do the important analysis on projects. And specifically, just to start out this conversation, we're interested in knowing more about the project diagnosis tool that you've got on your website. I think you call it the project confidence assessment. So what the heck is that? And how can project managers use it or leverage it in their work?
Yeah, absolutely. And just to confuse everyone more, we just changed the name again to Project Success Indicator.
Okay.
And I think that's really what's behind it is all project managers. We can't predict the future, but if there are ways to ask ourselves some questions at the start of the projects to understand how some key areas will influence project success and actually give that a score. And maybe what I'll do is just share my screen real quickly here.
Yeah, please do.
So this is the homepage, Project Success Indicator. And I know we're going to talk about the design thinking canvas, so real easy to find. The great thing about the Project Success Indicator is it only takes 8 minutes to do. So I always tell people, why wouldn't you take 8 minutes at the beginning of a project to kind of see where you stand across these key areas? When I say key areas, when you click through, you'll be given this survey, and we really want to dig into people, challenges, vision, and impact. The reason why we created this is that we see so many projects, the core reasons that they fall down is they don't understand the people that they're designing for and designing with. They might be solving for the wrong problem, which we talked about the last time. Also, there might be some internal challenges we need to overcome, as working with groups of people can be complicated, as we all know. And then on the other side, if we think about how are we describing where we're trying to get to from a vision perspective, and how are we going to measure that success? So you can take the survey in 8 minutes, and what you'll get back is this an actual report that was done on the 18th of October. And it gives you the score, and it shows you how you rate against those 4 areas. So you can see here for this particular project, the thing that is probably the weakest about this project is understanding the people that are designing for and designing with. And then what's in the report is that you can step through this and you'll see that there are links that you can follow to mitigate those issues. So in this instance, for example, if someone was looking to do something, they wanted to mitigate this. Oh, we haven't created a picture of the future because a picture is so much better. Maybe I'll click on that and it'll open up a page that'll discuss how you can do that. It'll give you a link to a template that you could use in Mural to mitigate that. But it gives you this great benchmark at the start of a project of where you're at and where you could be.
I love that. That's all
Wow.
free, huh? That's the complimentary assessment.
Even better, right? Free.
Hard to beat. Tell me a little bit though, because it's clear from a project management perspective that's got huge value. How would that be used or help the executive sponsor? How would you have that conversation? Because so much is influenced by the executive team that's responsible for the project.
Yeah, I think one of the simple ways, if you're a project manager that's been given a brief that's connected to the corporate strategy and there's a sponsor, then using that tool, and particularly using that tool with your team, provides you a way to firstly understand how well do we all align around these 4 key areas as a team. You can even, and we've done this, you can even get the project sponsor themselves to do the assessment, and then you can highlight how different or similar the scores are, because we break it down into the 4 areas. So we have oftentimes shown a visual summary of the key sponsor thought the vision was as clear can be. The people tasked with creating the project had some big questions. So the project sponsor's score was up at around 80. The 3 people that we worked with who were leading the project and working the project, they were all quite aligned. They were probably within 10 points of one another, but they were in the 40s and 50s. And that, if you can identify that stuff really early on, you can have a really productive conversation with a senior exec or a sponsor, and you can get them as involved as they're prepared or want to be in the actions that you take going forward. So I think that's just a very practical way to involve them.
It seems
That is
pretty
terrific.
powerful.
Yeah.
It seems like that would be powerful to compare different perspectives. And then it leads me to my next question, which thinking about those 4 lenses that you're looking through, project success, indicator, what did you say they were? People, vision, challenges, and impact.
Very good.
Have you seen that kind of in-depth comparison of perspectives actually shift organizational culture and mindset around, just getting a broader view and thinking, gosh, we're really myopic here in our own worlds. Have you seen some movement at a greater level above the project or outside of the project?
Yeah, yes, we're both nodding. Shall I go and you can jump in? So I think the overarching value from a corporate culture, organizational cultural perspective is, as an organization, how consistently are we talking about and making literally visible our vision for where we're trying to head to? It's very easy to have vision statements and mission statements, and these things have been around for years, right? But how well do people understand them? I was recently doing some work with a new client we've been working with, and I found myself referencing, the NASA visit by Kennedy in the 60s, and he asked the cleaner, "What do you do?" And he said, "I'm helping put a man on the moon, Mr. President," because they've done a great job in helping everybody understand, no matter what you do, here's the vision. So I think if you start to use methods, if you get into the habit of using methods that bring your vision to life, methods that make you more people and human centered, methods that help you describe the impact, methods that help you get clarity around challenges, then the knock-on benefit is more people understand where the organization is trying to get to and what they can do to support that journey, because it is a journey. It's a journey from where are we now to where we're trying to get to. And we've even seen that the client I've just referred to, they've won a cultural effectiveness award for using these kinds of methods and starting to grow them and propagate them across the organization. So I think it can have real cultural impact.
It makes me think, why wouldn't you use this, right? There's every reason to use it.
Well, and another practical reason, we were working, someone who was using the project indicator as a consultant and was actually working on a complex project around policing, and had to show the sponsors that they were moving the needle across the project. So, and having these events and bringing people together and doing these activities, they started at the beginning of the project and were able to set a benchmark. I don't remember what the number is, but let's say it was 35, the score, and then they did some work together as a group, and then they all took the assessment again, and they were able to show we're now at 50 something. And that allowed that person to say, not only are we making progress, we still have some ways to go. And that made that discussion a lot easier. I mean, I can imagine that as a project manager or a consultant, et cetera, to be able to show the work that I am doing as a designer in this instance is actually quantifiably moving us all forward collectively.
So you can use it as a monitoring tool along the project timeline and get pulse checks, it sounds like.
We
Nice.
love the term pulse checks. Yeah.
Is that the magic word, Paul?
There you go. Open sesame and pulse checks.
We
All right.
call it reveal blind spots, is the reveal blind spots.
Okay. Well, I would love to talk all day on this tool, and I'm going to encourage everybody to go wander over to your website and look at it. But let's change gears a little bit now, because you've got another tool that's fascinating, right? The design thinking canvas you have. What was the problem you guys were looking to solve when you created this canvas?
Not unlike, it ties very directly, and David will show you how it ties very directly to the project success indicator, or the four corners that we call of the canvas. But the idea was to help people more consistently apply design thinking on projects. So if we think of the design, we thought we wanted to create a map. So if you think of a project as a journey, and it has a beginning, it has a middle, it has an end, we've decided on a destination. What we really wanted to do with the canvas was, one, provide some more detail. We talked the last time about the double diamond framework, this kind of iconic framework for design. But like, how do you use that? Like, how do you actually apply this day to day? How can we, to another benefit, how do we create a picture of the project? So how can we create a map together where we know where we're starting and where we're trying to get to, and how are we going to successfully complete that journey? So that was really where we were coming from, of a repeatable framework that we could use to get innovative results from projects. And we believe that the more people that we get to use this, the better off projects will be, the better off you can keep thinking of all the benefits all the way up to making the world a better place if people are using this stuff effectively. So that was what was kind of behind the canvas.
Awesome.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
can we see it?
Yeah, sure. So
Share that?
why don't I, if I give you a little bit of a walkthrough, so I'm going to share my screen now. Just tell me, because you might disappear from my screen as I do this. Just tell me that you can see that and it's all looking good.
Yes.
Is our logo? So I'll just do a bit of a walkthrough. We sort of call this, I mean, this is about design strategy. This is thinking ahead and planning ahead, the design of a project. And at the start of any project, you've got somebody, we talked about this before, somebody with a brief or an area of opportunity. And Justin's talked about unpacking that opportunity using the four areas of vision. So we're thinking about what will the future look like. We might capture some thoughts on that, some stickies. What difference will we make? We can capture some thoughts in relation to that. Challenges we're going to have to address, and also who do we need to involve. And when we do that, these are sort of like the four core areas that we talked about, which can give rise to activities that we might do. We might do a cover story mock-up that gives an indication of what the future might look like. We might use a tool called abstraction laddering, which helps us unpack the problem space in challenges, or a stakeholder map, for example, as ways to think about tools, ways to think about people. And you can use it as a very simple, you can use the corners of the canvas, which you'll see in a second, to sort of capture some notes and then start doing some activity. But what we found ourselves thinking about was, well, what would a canvas off the back of that look like? So if we think about the 4 areas again that I had there, if we just separate out the vision and impact, because that's where we're going, right? That's the future. People and challenges, the people we need to think about now, the challenges we've got now. How do we make that connection? And last time we said, hey, if we know the problem already, then we can start developing solutions. So there's the second diamond from the double diamond that we talked about. But we also spoke last time about the value of spending time in the problem space. So let's just move back a little bit and create some room to explore the problem space. And then we also realize that you need to communicate over the course of a project. So there needs to be some sort of communication or storytelling across the top. And then we need to think about how we deliver the project and monitor progress. We've just talked about monitoring. We might capture the scores on the indicator assessment. You know, so how do you manage it? So these are the sort of the core areas of what became the design thinking canvas. And if I just pause for a second there, so this is the tool. If you go to our website, you can see you know, the digital example of this design thinking canvas, and you can download that and use the tool. I'll just pause for a second and see if you get any quick reactions, and then I can show you some more examples if you'd like.
No, I want to find more. I want to keep going. Don't stop.
It just seems like there's so much value in this, and that when you started designing this, both of you, you were really keying in on the idea that people were skipping over what the real problem is. Is that fair to say that? Was that the impetus for?
Oh yeah, and
fire?
providing a way, as Justin said, providing a mechanism, a tool to consistently acknowledge that there is this thing, there is this part of any, you know, at some point somebody's going to say, hey, what problem are we exploring? How do you know that matters? How have you scoped it? If you've captured some thinking on something like the canvas, you've got an artifact that you can really easily share and show to people how the thinking has evolved and what the journey, Justin's used the analogy of a journey. Why don't I show you a couple of examples, and then it might bring it to life a little bit more. So if I go back in here to what I was sharing a second ago, so here we are. So this is the blank canvas, and I was showing a sketchy example, but what I'm showing now is here's an initial use of the canvas where the team's core responses, the things that matter most to them in relation to vision, impact, people, and challenges have been captured in the 4 corners. And the big opportunity area over on the left here is, you know, we want to double turnover of the business in the next 3 to 5 years. So, for example, one aspect of the vision was that we're replacing our rival as the iconic brand in people's homes. Okay, we've blanked out the actual company that this was done with, but we're capturing core responses by the core team in the project about how we respond to vision, impact, people, and challenges in relation to that opportunity area. And that in itself could be a place where you stop and have a conversation and say, right, let's dig in to each of these areas and just how do we feel about it. But then what you can also do is start thinking about what shall we now do next? What activities shall we do? So the next use of the tool is you can start mapping your way across. So we talk about Luma quite a lot. Luma is a great methods-based system for innovation. And here we're plotting in the problem space, contextual inquiry, interviewing, walk a mile immersion. These are some examples of some looking methods where we spend time with people we've identified up here in the top left-hand corner of the canvas, and we're going to go and spend time there. Then we're going to capture what works well, what doesn't work well, where the opportunity areas are, do some clustering using affinity clustering, maybe a bit of persona profile, and then we're going to re-articulate the problem as a statement starter, which will then drive idea generation using a tool called Creative Matrix. We'll do some prioritization. We'll develop the concepts further using concept posters. We'll maybe even make some rough and ready prototypes, and then we'll do some critiques, and then we'll take stock and see how far we've got in our understanding of the, you know, of the solutions that we've developed in response to that core problem and how close it's getting us to our vision. So that's where we kind of, that's where we got to with the design thinking canvas. I'll just pause it back on there again for a second and let you ask any questions.
Well, it seems like you've given all the pieces to guide a project team and sponsor on their journey and really stop and think about deeply and explore those different areas that we often just kind of race past and think, oh, we already know what we're doing, let's go. And then all of that, then we wonder why we're not successful or our projects don't land in the space that we thought they were going to land.
Yeah. And I think one of the things that we're always at pains to try and help people understand is, you know, it is a canvas. It's a thing that you put stuff onto and move around. And we talked last time about, you know, time in the first diamond might be a 45-minute conversation, or it could be a 3-month research project. It will all be contextually, you know, dependent. But the design thinking canvas is still the same tool, the same model to help you think about that. So it is quite flexible, and it just going back to something Justin's talked about, because I think it's a powerful metaphor, mapping your journey which you've yet to go on and having conversations and working out what's the right approach and being prepared to alter your journey as you go, perhaps. You know, that can all happen as you work your way across.
That is so cool. And so let me ask this, because on the other tool, you kind of brought up ways to use it in multiple phases of the project. Clearly, this design canvas is outstanding when you're starting, when you're at the beginning of your journey, looking out to where the heck do we want to go? How are we going to get there? How else can the project manager and the team use this along the way?
We were talking about cultural change. I think whenever we're creating artifacts together, like we're creating visuals, we're showing instead of telling. I think what we're doing is we're changing, we're looking at how a project is updating over time. So like we're constantly updating the canvas in the same way that you might be updating your progress indicator score. So I think it's a place, again, that we can keep going to over the course of a project as we're working our way from what we defined as an opportunity to actually getting opportunities out into the market. We're updating the canvas all along the way. So it gives us that shared picture of what we're doing, what we've learned, how we've updated our understanding, and where we're at on a project. So I feel like it's a map, but then it's also the record of the journey you're taking. So like if I was traveling with my family and I was taking pictures along the way and I'm updating our little travel journal, it's a great thing to use the canvas for. And I know it sounds like work. Can I share one other thing? Well, we've thought a lot about, or we're thinking a lot about projects and design projects, almost like collaborative games. So I don't know if you probably have some game players in your audience, but we some people might be familiar. There's a game called Ravine, and it's a collaborative card game. And we used two methods to build out an alternative world about what would design look like or a project look like if it was a game. And so this is the game Diamond. So a creative and collaborative card game where you're trying to kind of traverse this process. But does this sound familiar to any of your audience? So on the back, if you were to flip that box over, Diamonds is a strategic and cooperative survival card game. You and your team have been assigned a challenge, but can the project survive another week in the company? Work together to find resources, develop understanding, and craft better solutions. But be wary, every step you take could be one step closer to failure.
Kind of the project management Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's when you think about us getting together and playing, we also, if a collaborative game is you only win if the whole team survives, and we're all drawing from the same resources and the same timelines and trying to get across the same success. So if the design thinking canvas is thought of as a game board, this is the game that we're kind of playing together, and the idea is to get from one side to the other to be successul.
That is terrific. That really is.
Yeah, Justin and David, thank you so much. Oh, Paul, you were going to say something.
Well, I just, like you, I wanted to thank them so much, because this has been very enlightening. I'm sure the folks in our viewing audience are going to want to be running over to your website and take a deeper look into the canvas and some of your other tools.
Yep, that's whatcouldbe.com.
That's right.
And thank you for being with us not once, but twice to help spread the word about what could be and human-centered design as it relates to projects. I think this is just invaluable. And I can't imagine a PM who's starting a project wouldn't, once knowing about this tool, go check it out and use it. So, we appreciate your generosity too in sharing all of your great insights and your tools with our audience. And we really wish you the best with what could be and all the transformative work you're doing in this space. Please stay in touch.
Definitely.
Love
Thanks.
to keep in touch with you both.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, thank you. We'd love to keep in touch. Thanks for having us, and we'll see you again down the line.
All right. That was kind of cool, Kelly, huh?
Yes, I like listening to it again.
So for those with us, clearly we've gone long. And I'll tell you that even after we turned off the video, we probably stayed on with those guys another 20, 30 minutes. So I encourage you, go over to whatcouldbe.com, take a look at the tool. Lots of good stuff. See how you can apply design thinking to your project management or just the development of your projects as we wrap up here.
And for those of you who have your PMP credential, this is a PDU, a 0.5 PDU. So go ahead and claim that in the pmi.org website. And then we'd love to hear from you. If you have anything you want to share, you can reach Paul and I at myprojecthell@gmail.com. And if you registered for My Project Hell, you'll be getting a post-show email that have links to both Paul's and my Calendly calendars, and you can book some time with us to talk about any of your own Project Hell situations. We'd love to hear from you.
That's right. And as always, check out our past episodes, including the previous one with David and Justin, at our YouTube channel, or drop us a note at myprojecthell@gmail.com. But we're running late, so let's let everybody go. Thank you all.
Thank you. We'll see you in a couple weeks with the next episode.